After much delay, Mickey 17 is finally out in theaters, and I got a chance to check it out in IMAX to let you guys know if this film is worth a watch. Hey everyone, my name is Ryan. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. Whether you're new or you're returning, thank you guys for checking out my thoughts. And if you are new, definitely hit that subscribe button. I do reviews like this all the time on the channel. Definitely hit the like button as well and comment below your thoughts on Mickey 17. Now this film was directed by Bong Joon-ho, and he is known for Parasite, which I did see that film in theaters. Although I'm not as high on that film as everyone else, it isn't a film that I really think about or want to really revisit, but it's not a bad film overall. Now this film, it stars Robert Pattinson, Toni Collette, Mark Ruffalo, Yeun, and many others. Now with this film, I saw the trailer and I wasn't really necessarily impressed by the trailer, like the comedy and just kind of like what the story actually was. I wasn't like really sold to go check out this movie, but I saw that it was coming out this week. It was in IMAX and I was like, let's give it a shot. Let's see what the fuss is about. It's over 2 hours. How bad could it actually be? And I'll first start off by saying, from a positive standpoint, I really like Robert Pattinson. I think he has grown a lot from when he was in Twilight, and I've said this many of times. I think those movies give an actor like him and also Kristen Stewart like bad reps. Like, I really think that a lot of people don't like them because of those movies, but I think both of them as actor and actress have really come a long way. And I think here Robert Pattinson does a really good job for what his role is actually given. I think this film is shot well. I think visually it looks very stunning, especially in many scenes, and I think in IMAX it really captures that as well. The sound here is done really well. I think there are many scenes in here, especially with like the spaceship that they're on and the planet that they're on, that the sound is very pivotal into the experience in IMAX, and I really did enjoy that about the film. I also liked the first half of this film. I really liked learning about Robert Pattinson's character, his predicament, like he came from Earth and how he really got on the ship. He is with Yeun in a partnership and it goes wrong and he owes all these people all this money, so they decide to go on this spaceship of a lifetime and take up a job. And Robert Pattinson is basically this guy that goes into dangerous situations and he gets killed time and time again, and he gets replicated, and he is Mickey 17. So there's 16 other copies that have died before we actually meet Mickey 17. And apparently this is based on a book called Mickey 7, which I don't know really if this follows the book. I think it's more of like an adaptation from that book, and mainly like the director trying to give like his perspective and his way of like how he wanted to organize this movie. From the first half, I was really digging like Robert Pattinson and like his jokes and like really getting to know him, learning about him on the spaceship. He has a girlfriend played by Naomi Ackie, and like that relationship, I liked actually seeing that. I liked how we see him go into like dangerous missions and we see him die, we see him replicate. Like, that was a really cool part about this movie, and I was definitely on board, I would say, for like the first 60 to 70 minutes. This film then goes to a different shift in which there is a problem with the replication of his body, and then this requires Robert Pattinson to have two of himself in which he has to act with two different characters. And I think like that acting is good. But for me, I think that replication, I didn't think that they really did a lot with both of them as a whole. I think like there could have been a lot more done. I felt like when we got to that point, the movie kind of stalled a little bit for me. And then it kind of went into like political undertones, like Mark Ruffalo's character. He's basically like a dictator. I would say he is like the Donald Trump that they're trying to make him be, and he's very over the top. He's got like this false teeth that he's got, or prosthetic type teeth that he has, where he kind of has like the motions kind of like a Donald Trump, and he just is got a lot of different ideas of what he really wants, and they need to go to this planet to basically colonize. But what's on this planet is these creatures called creepers. He also has a wife, Toni Collette. She plays this very over-the-top character, and within the second and third act, they really focus on both those characters as a whole. I think Toni Collette, her character with being very over the top, it's a little bit too goofy for me personally, and her like motivation as to what she really wants, it's kind of strange, to be honest. When we get into that second and third act, I think there's some like cute little moments, but I think like the story wasn't really like meshing up for me. I felt like they did stop the comedy and they went into more like a serious, but then kind of like an over the top type of tone as well. And even though there is still very good visuals, I just felt like the story just really stalled out for me. I wasn't really like loving it. And I felt like as the film wrapped up and came to a close, I was very like unsure how I felt about the movie. Like I didn't love the movie. I didn't feel like I hated the movie, but I was very torn. There's so many themes they're throwing at the audience, like religion, classes, authority, control, animal abuse. And I just felt like with all these themes, they don't really pick a lane. And that is the problem when it gets to like the second and third act. They're introducing more and more themes, and it's like, what are you trying to say out of this movie? Like, what do we need to get out of this movie? What does the audience need to feel about this movie? Do we need to feel sorry for these creatures because they live on this planet and you have an authoritative figure that wants to take over this planet? Like, what are we supposed to feel? Are we supposed to feel for Mickey's character here? He has double of himself. He has his girlfriend. Like, what are we supposed to feel with all these characters? I just felt like there's so much stuffed into this movie. And even at 2 hours and 17 minutes, I feel like it's very jumbled up. It feels very messy. And I think that's maybe why this film has been delayed for quite a long time at this point. I mean, I think it was supposed to come out last year. It was supposed to come out, I think, earlier this year. They delayed it again. I mean, it's been delayed at least a good 3 or 4 times. So to me, I feel like from the writing standpoint, I feel like it's a little bit weak. I felt like it was just a little bit stale, and I felt like as we got from like the first act to the second to the third, it didn't really mesh up to me. I just felt like it wasn't that strong of writing, and there's just so much being thrown and stuffed at us with the audience that I don't feel like it was all that great. So when this film actually wrapped up and I had a lot of time to think about it, there is elements that I really like from this film, but I realize after watching this film, to me, this is just not a rewatchable film. There's not like an actual point of me wanting to go back and revisit this film. And I feel like also because the writing isn't that strong and there's so much being thrown at us, I don't even think like an Oscar or any type of awards would be for this film, mainly because it just kind of struggles to really stay together. It just feels like it really falls apart, especially like late in that second act and then going into the third act. It wasn't all that great to me. So as far as the score for this film, I would give it a 2.5 out of 5. It's okay. It's not a terrible film. It definitely has some really strong elements that I really like in film, but I just felt like for me, there's just too much going on and not really focusing on like what you have to say, like what are we supposed to take away from this film. But what are your guys' thoughts on Mickey 17? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? On my Letterboxd, it seems like I'm seeing a lot of 3.5 to 4-star ratings, so it seems like quite a few people are liking this. However, I feel like I'm going to be just a little bit on my own island with maybe a few that really agree with me. I feel like overall, though, this is a film that many are really enjoying, so I'm happy for everyone that is enjoying the film. I want to thank you guys for watching my review, and I will see you guys next time.